the effort to overthrow an elected government. In short, an attempted coup by definition. It was furthermore an attempt that could have succeeded if a few prominent Republican figures had changed their stance and gone along with the coup attempt. And if the military command had made different decisions, Chomsky referencing what the retired generals say, if you get the military, the outcome can be different. Trump was making every effort to facilitate the coup, which would surely have been applauded by a large majority of Republican voters and by the Republican political leadership, which, with few exceptions, grovels at his feet in a shameful display of cowardice. Implications for the future are all too clear. The Republican organization is carefully laying the groundwork for success next time, whatever the electoral outcome might be. This is very, very serious. And lastly, Jim Krissinger with a good piece, Opinion, What Authoritarianism Would Look Like in America, where he writes, many Americans don't fear a potential slide into authoritarianism because they have no basis for doing so. Our oceans and hegemony have coddled us. We take democracy for granted, but democracy and the rule of law are not the normal state of governments, certainly not historically, pointing out authoritarianism wouldn't happen overnight, but authoritarian regimes have shown us a roadmap. If Trump and his enablers get their way, how you experience your life would depend on whether you identified and were identified as a Trump Republican. Identified as a Trump Republican with your bumper sticker, you'd be more likely to get a warning instead of a speeding ticket. You'd gain the inside track for government jobs, grants, and permits. Decisions about government benefits like unemployment and disability would be more likely to go your way. Your children would be more likely to win scholarships and admission to their chosen schools. You'd get more favorable loan and mortgage treatment, better access to scarce goods, the best tickets. Regulations would be interpreted in your favor or maybe just ignored. You could rely on the criminal justice and judicial systems to go easy on you, if not help you out. This is a very, very much worth reading article. And there are a lot of people already saying the 2024 election is going to be bonkers nuts. You are going to see them put up claims of fraud just like they did in 2020, but they may have secretaries of state, election administrators actually willing to do the flip. Remember, in Georgia, Brad Raffensperger said, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. They may actually lay the groundwork where they do have secretaries of state willing to play ball. And I don't think we're going to have to wait until 2024 to see it. I believe the midterms are going to show us where we are headed and how quickly. And so there's a lot of people in the right-wing media who dismiss January 6th because it failed. And you would better believe that if they had succeeded and Trump was still president, some of those very people saying it wasn't really anything because it failed would be praising it as a victory for the real winner. So those people you can't listen to. They don't care about democracy. They're against it if democracy leads to an outcome they don't want. It's not been a priority of the Republican Party for a really long time. And unfortunately, there is now a whole series of clones of Donald Trump that are out there in Congress and running for office in 2022 and no doubt in 2024. So good for all of these people continuing to point out this is not over. It's not, they tried it once and it failed and now we move on. They're going to try it again. Now, I want to talk about something else that is very, very important, because in light of the concerns about future authoritarianism, saying, hey, you know what, in an authoritarian U.S., you would start to see, for example, the Trumpists will get lighter sentences or better treatment from the judicial system. This is already sort of happening, and I'm going to give you guys some very specific examples. There's this context we've seen about the Trump rioters, now more than 700 of them who have been charged, that they're being treated so unfairly, that they're being held in bad conditions in jail and prison, pre-trial detention, all of these different things. And we actually now have an investigation as to the sentences for these individuals, and it turns out that 2/3 of the sentences for the Trump rioters are milder than what the prosecution has recommended. Judges are getting the recommendation and they're saying, I'm going to give them a lighter sentence in 2/3 of the times. Now, if you look at individual sentences, you'll see right-wingers saying 4 years for this, 5 years for that. That's crazy. They're being treated poorly because they're Trumpists. But let's look at the actual data. Judges have declined U.S. proposed sentences in 2/3 of the January 6th cases so far. This is among those who have been sentenced. This is the Washington Post, when federal judges in Washington began hearing guilty pleas from some of the hundreds of riot participants from the riots, some were highly critical of prosecutors for pursuing only misdemeanor charges and not just seeking jail time for many defendants. Is it the government's view that the members of the mob that engaged in the Capitol attack were simply trespassers? Asked District Judge Beryl Howell incredulously in October. Is general deterrence going to be served by letting rioters who broke into the Capitol, overran police, resolve liability through petty offense pleas? But for all 4 defendants Howell sentenced, she has imposed less jail time than prosecutors sought, saying that government plea deals in most misdemeanor cases are forcing judges to choose whether short jail terms or years of probation pose a stronger deterrent. Her decisions are not unusual. The article goes on to say federal judges in D.C. have gone below the government recommendation in 49 of 74 sentencings held for the rioters in the year since the attack. That's about 2/3 of the cases. Most have not yet been sentenced, so we're looking at the ones that have. In 8 cases where prosecutors asked for jail time, the judges opted for probation. Of the 74 people sentenced so far, 35 have been given jail or prison time, 14 home detention, and 25 probation alone. There is a sort of infographic here that you can look at, and we'll link to this, which shows in pink those who got lighter sentences than the recommended. In yellow, those who got harsher, and that applies to, looks like a couple, and those who got exactly what was recommended. It is untrue. It is untrue that the Trump rioters are being treated unfairly harshly. Now, we're going to get to some of these other aspects later, which include, Republicans saying, well, it's just terrible how they're being held in pretrial detention. They can't build a good defense if that's what you do. Yes, people like me have been saying for decades, pretrial detention, which is disproportionately something for people that can't afford bail in some cases. Sometimes it's because you can't afford bail. Sometimes it's not granted, different situations. We've been saying that needs to be reformed for a really, really long time. The right never cared. Now they care because it's Trumpists. Those same right-wingers saying these people are being treated like terrorists. Now, some say they are terrorists, but the conditions in these jails are terrible. One guy didn't even get the vegan food that he asked for. We've been talking about jail and prison conditions in the United States for decades. They didn't care. They used to say, well, if you're there for a reason and you don't deserve to be in a Norwegian hotel or whatever analogy they like to make. Now they care because it's, quote, their people. So let's look at the facts. 2/3 getting lighter sentences than what was recommended. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at dpacman. Remember that tomorrow, Tuesday, January 11th, 6 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing the first David Pakman Show chess tournament of the year. Make sure you join our chess club. It's free. This is totally free. davidpakman.com/chess. And then you can play in the tournament tomorrow. I hope to see you then. Welcome back, everybody. Remember that the David Pakman Show is primarily funded by viewers and listeners through the membership program. That's particularly true for the next 90 days as we have been banned from all monetization on Facebook. Why? Because an algorithm.
almost everything.
On my way. This is who I am.
Better getting more than one goal. Better at least get
The stars care not.
Really? What? That was, oh my god, I just sold everything for no reason.
I recommend skipping.
What do I do here?
Let's get cracking.
I'm gonna up against the knights. At least like most fucking weak guys. Motherfuckers must be dying out here. No, what? Like I literally just got lucky.
Let's get cracking.
What am I looking for right now? I need to find Gemma. You go 7 and just roll a bunch and find these motherfuckers. Yeah, okay. Duet's pretty good. It's mega good. Get a fish for Seraphine. Alright, this means I could grab this, right? No, what do I really want? I need... I don't know. Grab that shit? Wow. Yeah, I just want all of this. Colossus are worth slightly more than like a regular unit. Simply because it's like 4 star, 4 cost. Even if he does take an extra unit slot, it's like, in terms of their budget, like you're still getting more value if that makes any sense. Come on, you here.
The fun begins. I will protect you. Takes that slide perma heal.
Let's get to the fun part.
I could have put in on what's her face. We can do this.
I never compromise.
As soon as he locks onto fucking, he's like, oh, they have a timer on them. 2 cost timer.
Follow my voice.
Does he really have 400?
Violence is a means to an end.
Don't worry, I am.
Follow my voice. Sing along.
Enforcer? Do I even have Enforcer? Am I gonna put an Enforcer later? Enforcer, I can put in Enforcer Jace later. Protector? Protector Taric would be pretty tight. I'm not using Protector, am I? Maybe. Protector.
Let's get going.
That's fucking useful, my bad.
When does the killing start?
Let's go later. Nothing that
start some trouble.
I'm gonna run this all the way. So. What's my mana build up? Not last pick, so it's a chance. I think I might go right. What can I go? Can get the sword. So we can make crit Galio. Could go this. I'm gonna go Rage Blade. So I'm gonna stay alive for so long.
By your command.
I don't think we're like in any danger of fucking actually losing right now. Oh shit. No, it's not gonna be good. He just takes some fireboard. Yeah, this is like.
storm approaches.
Best defense.
Yep. That face is purple.
When does the killing start?
I have protected.
Breaking.
Not a fair fight.
This is very exciting.
When does the killing stop?
I can make a difference here.
Savor the misery. Savor the misery.